What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day out there today. Today I want to talk to you about Viper prices and how in recent months they have just been skyrocketing, and it is absolutely crazy time right now. And really unfortunate if you are a buyer, but really great news if you're a seller. So especially, of course, I always have been tracking Viper prices on the 96 GTSs. Because not only is it the one that I own, but it's my favorite Viper out of all of them. And so of course I've been very curious about tracking where the prices go and what that really means for the market. And one thing that I was really surprised about recently, of course, in the last even year, has been the prices on the Gen 5 Vipers, especially the ACREs. And even like right now, the prices on the ACREs is through the roof, and it's really hard to find one under $200,000 these days. And the car MSRP was $150,000. So anyone that bought one new is in a great position right now if they were looking to sell one to turn a nice profit. And it's really interesting. I guess I really shouldn't be surprised. The Viper has always been a really great styled vehicle and an American brute of a vehicle. And it's just a great car and a lot of fun, and it is only available in a manual transmission, or I should say was available since they stopped production in 2017. And right now in the supercar and exotic car market, there is definitely a lot of people looking for manual transmission equipped vehicles because they don't offer them pretty much anymore, other than I think like Porsche for their sports cars and supercars. And so a lot of manual transmission cars have been climbing in value in recent years to the point that a lot of them are really insane. Like, perfect example is I was hoping to buy a gated F430 a few years ago. When I first started looking, they were less than the F1 equipped equivalents. You could buy at the time an F1 car for about 135, and it was like 115 or so for a gated manual for the identical car. Nowadays, gated manual Ferrari F430s are selling for more than 430 Scuderias, so it's absolutely insane. Same thing, of course, is going across the board with your gated Gallardos, your Murcielagos, Diablos, and all these cars are really starting to command a premium, and the Viper, of course, is no exception. I've been saying for years that the Viper is underappreciated in their values and they need to be going up. And they finally started to get that attention. Hagerty has been giving them a push for the last couple years, saying that it's a car to watch and the values are gonna be climbing, and they definitely weren't wrong on that one. Now, the most recent example there was, of course, now this is an outlier because it was only a 44-mile car, but there was a 96 GTS just sold in the last couple of weeks on Bring a Trailer for $160,000. And it's probably, I think, the most that a 96 GTS has ever traded hands, at least publicly that I'm aware of. They did have a prototyped Carroll Shelby coupe go across auction recently, and that car sold, I think, for like $220,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. But that was a one-off prototype that was built with Carroll Shelby's involvement. And they were supposed to build a series of those cars, but never did. It was just that one. So the reason for that one going up so high, it's totally understandable. Now, of course, there's a lot of people out there saying that, oh, these cars shouldn't be going up because then it keeps it out of the hands of the average person and all this other stuff. And I can understand that, but at the same time, these are rare and unique vehicles. And a lot of times, even though general maintenance isn't too bad, things like tires cost you like $2,000 a set. And so the average person, probably they may be able to afford to strap their boots tight and go ahead and pull the trigger and buy the Viper, but can they afford the long-term maintenance of replacing tires every 20,000 miles or less? That's a little dicey, of course, there. But also, if you think about it, this car, when it was new, was like $73,000 in 1996. If you account for inflation today, the MSRP on this Viper would have been $123,000. So realistically, until all the 96 GTS Vipers, or all Gen 2 Vipers in general, are north of $120,000, you're really looking at a break-even point. So people laughing when I say they would take at least $250,000 for me to sell my Viper, but at the same time, realistically, that's only really, in today's dollars, double what it was new 25 years ago. So it's not that unrealistic, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 3 to 5 years that we see that price point on these cars clearing that kind of a premium. And we'll see whether or not I end up selling the car. And I've joked about it in the past and considered it and have never done it, because I know that being a dream car when I was growing up in those impressionable ages of middle school time frame, that it was my dream car, and I would absolutely regret selling this car because I just love looking at it, love driving it. It's an amazing car, and I have no real need at this point to do it. So probably not gonna sell the car, especially now that NV5 is coming up in 2 years, and I'm currently planning on driving this out there for that event. It's definitely a lot of fun for these cars, and the camaraderie with the community is really great. And so I'm really looking forward to that national event and seeing my friends from all over the country. As I mentioned in that NV video, if you saw that one posted about a week ago. But back on track, enough of that tangent. Viper prices have definitely been skyrocketing. I mean, Hagerty just did an hour-long seminar, and it's posted on their website. I'll try and put a link in the description below for that if you want to watch it, where they talk about the values and how they've been going up over the recent years, and they've definitely been spiking. And for the foreseeable future, that's the way I see these prices going, is just nothing but up, which is great for those of us that have these cars, and especially for those that are considering selling them. It's gonna be a great time in the next few years to do so as the market continues to climb. These cars are finally starting to get the respect on the secondary, well, tertiary or whatever market at this point that they deserve. The last few years we've been seeing prices on things like your Toyota Supras and your Acura NSXs skyrocketing into the 6-figure territory, and the Vipers were just left stagnant in like the 30 and 40K range. And I've been saying all that time, these cars are going to be taking off, and why shouldn't these cars be commanding the same, if not more money, as those Japanese equivalent cars have been? And we're starting to see that. So what are your thoughts on the current market of these Vipers and how things are going to be going in the future? What do you think? Do you think it's good for the market? Do you think it's bad for the market? I'm really interested in your thoughts as well. Obviously you guys know my thoughts. I think it's great to see these cars finally appreciating to the values where I think they should be. I really wouldn't be surprised if we get a lot of these cars up north of $200,000 in the next 5 years, and even more so as the time progresses. I mean, these cars aren't made anymore. They're never gonna make another car like this ever again, just because of how raw they are and the experience of these cars and all the safety requirements and regulations they've got now. So it's definitely once in a lifetime for these cars, and they're only getting fewer and fewer on the roads as people wreck them or go through floods or whatever else happens to these cars. So that's today's video. I hope you found this information useful as always. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. Give me that thumbs up. It helps me out tremendously in that YouTube algorithm. And of course, you want to be kept up to date with all my future uploads. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button down below and ring that notification bell as well, so that way YouTube will keep you up to date on all of my future uploads. And as always, guys, I will see you the next video.